Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, all.
Hope everybody's doing good. We've got a full crew today. Dennis won't be with us. He's retiring from the military service that he does on the weekends and stuff sometimes, and this is his last one. So he should be back with us after that. But we got everybody else here this morning. Jerry and Bill and Steve. We may lose Steve. He's been having internet trouble, so bear with us on that. And then Steve invited Evan Batista, right?
Yep.
Back, the train builder, and he's got an engine to show us. So I guess, well, Steve, you want to go through the lineup of who's here this morning before we?
Yeah, I haven't even looked. So let me see. We've got Steve Anderson. Hey, I'm looking forward to you coming to Train Mountain. That's going to be awesome. Awesome. We got Al Mar. Hey, we got John 2618, our favorite pilot. Al Mar. We got Lee, Rob T-Man, John, Grandpa Rails. Good morning, John. And Bernard. It's you're coming too, right? You're flying in. So
oh, that's going to be
welcome,
fun.
everybody.
Yeah, we'll have a good time when everybody gets here like that.
Oh, man, we're going to have a blast.
Anyway, I don't know how many of you remember Evan, but I'm going to turn it over to him and let him tell us what he's been working on. Let me get you big screen here. There we go.
Make him bigger.
Make him bigger?
Hi, guys. Good to meet some newbies.
Yeah.
I guess I'm kind of the newbie. Yeah, my name's Ev, so it's like 6:30 in the morning. I'm like half awake here, but I've been working on some choo-choo trains.
Me
I got
too.
A little Porter locomotive here. Not so little, it's about 400 pounds. It's a 3/4 scale. So she's based off 2-foot narrow gauge. Porter engine, Cornet Porter engine. And it's been fun wrenching on her. I just got her about a month ago, and I got her in San Luis Obispo from a guy named Tom. This little thing had to run in about 8 years. It was just sitting there, and prior to that, it had to run for another 8 years. And she's just been kind of chilling for the last 16 years. She's probably ran a total of 8 and 9 hours in the last 16 years, which isn't the best for a locomotive, but she was kept really well. And she was called the Inland Empire. Inland Empire was what she was called, and little saddle tank porter. And I've just been wrenching on her. I took her all apart, cleaned her. She was pretty much needing a big cleaning is what was happening. That's what's kind of going on right now. I have a tank, the saddle tank, in for painting right now, and the cab's in for painting, and the big light in the front's in for painting. So those three main components, they're being powder coated right now. I think I'm going to do like a gloss black roof, but a matte black cab. Kind of have a vision of what I'm going to do here. And just cleaned up some stuff around here. The running gear. She was a diesel fired when I got her. So the first two, I just took the burner out and sold it to a fella out. Actually, one of the previous owners. I sold him back the diesel burner for it. I'm going to convert her to propane. And so I got Jeff Dune over at Local Parts making a burner for her. And working on that. And just cleaning stuff up. Some of the pilot board up here, I made out of red oak. Cleaned all that up. I wanted a little bit wider. It was a little too thin. So I did that. And in the back over here, the back transom, the back area here, the back board, I redid all of that. So it's just been a lot of fun. She is such a well-built locomotive. And she is such a well-built locomotive. This guy Ken Rowe built her in the 80s. 1985. She pretty much came to life in about 1985, and just a really cool build at Row. And I've talked to him on the phone a few times. I got his number from a previous owner, and he's a really nice guy. So he's just been giving me a bunch of information about her, telling me, this, that, and the other. And so it was the other two previous owners. It was Ken Rowe who built her. This guy Joe bought her guy Tom bought her, and I'm the fourth owner. And then I got her. So I'm just kind of pretty much painting her and stuff to my liking. You know, I like a black locomotive. I cannot not have a black locomotive. So I'm kind of going off this little guy here, this little O gauge portal. This is not a cornet. I just kind of dolled this little thing up and had some fun with it, but a little bit of what she'll kind of look like. And yeah, so she ran really good. The first time I fired this little butter pig up, the first day she just blew out a ton of roaches and. You know, she was just like Frankenstein coming to life. She was just like.
Now, tell everybody how you came up with the name Butter Pig.
It's just that she was so greasy. This thing was so greasy, and like a locomotive should be. But they just had like caked and 30-year-old grease all over her. She was just such a greasy little thing. To me, she was kind of like a little pig chugging down the tracks. I kept calling her a pig all day. I'm like, look at that little pig. So she's a greasy little pig, little butter pig. And it kind of stuck. So then my neighbors were calling her Butter Pig, and a couple other train guys at the club were calling her Butter Pig that came over and helped me fire her. And everybody was just calling her like this little Butter Pig locomotive. I was like, I like that name. And my family, we call each other pigs all the time. we kind of use it, you know, joking around and stuff. So we just kind of stuck. Just kind of called her Butter Pig. I got a couple little decals in yesterday, and one of them does say Butter Pig. I'll put on the side of her. I want to do Livy B Railroad is my railroad. It's mine for my daughter. I got these little. You can see the light on. It's kind of.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Now, Evan, how much water does that tank hold?
The saddle tank holds about 5 gallons. I'd say about 5 gallons on the saddle tank, and then 5 gallons in the external tank that I'll have on the flat car. I'll have a tank as well for the injectors on the flat car. It's about another 5 gallon tank. It's about 10 gallons of water.
Oh man, that you know how much water my engine holds? I had no idea it was so little. That boiler of mine only holds 1.5 gallons.
Yeah. Is yours about a 5-inch boiler or so? 6 maybe?
No, I think it's 8.
Okay.
It's all steel on mine, but
yeah.
I was amazed at how quickly it fills up with water. There is,
Oh yeah. These injectors work great. There's 2 injectors on this thing. There's one right here and there's one over there. The saddle tank actually I am gonna. He originally had an axle pump, just an axle pump and 2 injectors. What I'm gonna do is actually use a hand pump and 2 injectors. I like having the hand pump just for the manual aspect of it for safety and stuff, being able to get to it real fast. So I have a hand pump I'm going to put right here. The saddle tank will solely be for the hand pump. So, and just weight. So I won't be using that hopefully too much, and just, mainly just try to get the weight on the drivers there. And then the tank, the external tank in the back of the flat car, I'm just doing a video for it as well about a little bit. The third video will have a little more explanation of it. I'm going to put a little crate over it. That's where I'll sit on. That's where the secondary tank will be. And that feeds the injector. So that goes 2 tubes into the back of the loco here. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roy had a question. He said, are you going to paint it pink and add a curly tail?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do
right.
you have super scale injectors on that or
Little injectors, little British injectors, actually. The guys at the club, I was asking them what these things were about. They're older injectors. They're definitely, they're like 15, 20 years old. They're little British injectors from what I had. They kind of like something that I got in like Maidstone Engineering. They look just like the Maidstone Engineering injectors. So they're just little guys. They're right here. They're probably the size of yours, Steve. They're probably the size of your American. They're just 2 little. Here's one right here, and then there's another one on the other side over there. They took a little bit to get working at first. They were just blowing constant steam. The water was not getting to them. I attribute that to the bulb being stuck. But eventually we just kind of rattled it around after like probably half an hour. My buddy Brandon from my club, they finally started injecting water. And then from the rest of the day out, it was brilliant. It worked fine. So the injectors worked actually really well. They shot water in that boiler real fast. So that was cool. That was exciting times. And the diesel was pretty intense too, running her on diesel. That burner was that was pretty intense.
You can internet's wigging.
Oh yeah, we lost Steve again. You say that's 3/4 scale?
Yeah, 3/4 scale.
So what's the gauge on the track that it runs on?
So her prototype or her would be 2-foot gauge. So she's based off a 2-foot gauge, but she's a 7.5 gauge.
Yeah. Okay. That was kind of what I was asking. What it runs.
Oh yeah. 7.5 gauge. She's 7.5 gauge.
Yeah, that'll be pretty cool to see. I can't wait to see you fire that one up and run it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If any of you guys are ever out this way, come take a ride. I got a little track around my house. You know, have fun. We bring all the neighborhood kids out. We give everybody rides and stuff. So it's a lot of fun. She's a powerful little thing, man. This little loco yanks. Holy cow.
Well, I would imagine weighs that much.
What's that?
And you got that much weight on it, it's going to have pretty good traction, I would think.
Exactly. That tank solely I'm going to try just to keep stored with water and for that weight.
I missed the weight on it. How much is that weigh, Evan?
She's 400 pounds dry.
Wow. So hey, Evan, I missed that. 400, okay.
Yeah, about 400 pounds dry. She's 400 pounds dry. So wet, about 450-ish or so,
Yeah.
Give or take, a bunch of tools on her and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I like to say I love that stack on there.
It comes right on. I'll show you. My looking forward. This thing comes right off.
Well, there you go. That make it a lot better for transporting, I'm assuming.
Yeah, exactly. That's why Ken designed it like that. She fits right in there like that and comes off. So the locomotive has been really easy to work on. I mean, he built this thing like a Lego set, man. This thing everything is accessible. It has Zerk fittings for the eccentrics and for the crosshead and everything. So, and it's really easy access to get to everything, which has been great. At 3 3/4 scale, you have a little more wiggle room, right, than you do with 1-inch scale. So,
now, is your throttle valve in the steam dome or?
Yes. Oh, okay. Yes. So mine is. If you can see up here, so it's kind of hard to see this. Here's the throttle right here, and it goes clear into the steam dome right here. So throttle, steam dome, into the back head right here. This was originally just a throttle in the back head at one point. There was just a throttle rod back here at one point. I never saw it like that. That was probably in the 90s. And someone converted it. I'm not sure who. Maybe the guy, Joe, one of the previous owners, converted it to a different style throttle right there. She has a nice big gauge on her. Nice big for a pressure gauge. And she's just a stout little thing, stout little engine. And you can see I had to do some cosmetic work down here, which I'm really happy with. She had these weird toolbox things at the end over here, and I just was not happy with it. It made her look just really fat in the back end, just a little too bulbous. So I cut those and I cinched it all the way back in here. Inside the cab a little bit. I'm not happy with it. I have it on my YouTube channel, kind of the process that I did, and so I'm really happy with her appearance. That's really important to me.
I like the black.
Solid black.
Yeah, I like the black. Have you sold your other locomotives yet?
Yeah. I sold the other AccuCraft Loco. I sold that to a fella in Arizona. All the cars and stuff with that went fast. That actually went really fast.
That's Thomas, right?
What's that?
That was Thomas, right?
No, I haven't sold Thomas yet. I had him up on Discover Live Steam for 2 seconds, although I don't think that's exactly my target audience. If I put him up on YouTube, he'll probably sell tomorrow. The kids will be destroyed, though. I put him up for 2 seconds, and they were just like, no. But I told him in the last video, I'm like, look, I can't have 1,700 locomotives, and
Yeah.
I'm really not into Thomas and Friends.
I'm with Bernard. What pressure do you run at?
120.
Okay.
Evan, how old are your kids?
My kids?
Yeah, how old
I
are
have
they?
a little girl. She's going to turn 4 in July.
So they love Thomas.
Oh,
She likes
he's
Thomas.
got
Yeah,
he's got a video of her firing Thomas up. That is so cute, man. That just hooked me.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, and Evan's link to his YouTube channel is in the description, guys. So you can pick it up pretty easy there if you don't already have it.
Yeah, go back
take a
and
look at his stuff.
watch that video of her firing that thing up, putting the coal in and oiling her up, and
Yeah.
man.
And you say
And how-
this one's going to be propane fired now?
Yeah, she's going to be propane fired. Yep.
That way you can come to Train Mountain.
Exactly. Come to Train Mountain one day, and like just the convenience of it and just the cleanliness. Propane pretty much cleans your locomotive, right? Whereas, the days of coal for me are done. I've fired, coal so many years, and I still fire like the little Thomas things. They're all coal. And I know I'll be firing coal, but for like my main locomotive, like her, this is like my main dream steam. I call her my dream steam.
Yeah.
Propane all day long,
Well, I'll tell you, whenever you make a trip to Train Mountain, let me know. And
yeah, absolutely. I want to go to the Triennial. I would love to go to the Triennial. It's just I can't make it this year. There's just too much going on. And
the triennials are nuts. It is absolutely insane there. The best time to go is when nobody's there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's gonna be nuts this year.
Yeah.
A lot of people I hear are pulling out equipment they've been working on for quite a while. So I heard it's it's gonna be pretty nuts this year.
Well, Steve and Evan both, I think John's directing this probably to both of you guys. He said, where's a good place to look at locos for sale?
Discover Live Steam is pretty cool. Discover Live Steam. Check them out. The inventory's been kind of low on there, it seems like. You notice that, Steve?
Uh-oh. I got a feeling we lost him again.
Discover Live Steam is a great place for finding locomotives. New and used, you can usually find places. There's a company called Gemini that will make you a locomotive. RMI and Godshaw. These are just a few. Godshaw, RMI, Gemini.
What?
So it kind of depends on what you're looking for, what scale and how much you're willing to spend.
Fork over, yeah.
Yeah, the money's what it comes down to. I got a wheel and deal. That's why I had to sell the other one, Claude. I had to sell. There's no way. Like I just want one train. That's it. That's all I can really do. The Thomas guys, I'm working on Percy because Thomas and Percy, they kind of go together as friends, and the Thomas fans really want to see.
Now,
so I'm gonna do that, and then they're gonna probably be sold to soon here because I have no interest in keeping them. I just do it for fun.
Yeah.
And I'll keep the pig here. The pig's my locomotive. That's my fun.
So will you build cars for this locomotive?
Yeah, actually, I do. Jerry, I have 3 flat cars.
What do you transport?
You can kind of see. So here's a flat car. Here's the body.
Oh, wow. They're pretty big.
Yeah, so about 5.5 feet long. 22 inches wide. Now that I'm dealing with this 3.5 scale stuff, they're pretty wide. It's all based off 2-foot narrow gauge. Look like 2-foot on that 7.5 gauge track. But I have 3 of these guys. So I might vision 3 flat cars. I might do a bobber caboose. I might make a little bobber caboose. That'd be kind of fun. But I made these super lightweight. These are super light. I just used pine instead of mahogany. Last time I used mahogany. And I used aluminum frame for the center instead of steel. Because I had a steel frame last time. And that was great and all. But it was infinitely heavier at the last flat car I built. This is probably the other flat car was twice the weight of this, I bet. So yeah, really lightweight these things, and so I just a little more powerful locomotive and lighter cars means more tugging. So it's kind of what I went for here. They have the Sharon couplers on them. Just basic little red kind of oxidey narrow gauge flat cars is kind of what I'm going for. And slants across.
Now, what do you use to transport it?
I have a little truck. I have a little Toyota Tacoma 4-banger that I transport my choo-choos in.
Okay.
I do have a neighbor though with the big dually, and that's how I got Butter Pig down from San Luis Obispo. Is I borrowed that, so he's really cool about it. If I have some heavy stuff or a lot more stuff, his bed's a little bigger and stuff. I'll take his dually. So my father-in-law also has a decent truck. So, but I could take the pig in like one flat car in my truck, in my little Toyota Tacoma, my little 4-banger, and works out pretty good.
So Evan, where are you located? Where do you live there?
I'm in San Jose.
San Jose. Okay.
I'm Bay Area. Yeah, I'm out here with all the fruits and nuts and everything. No.
I was thinking you were in Southern California. That's right. You're in San Jose.
Oh God, no! I hate Southern California.
Okay.
Not Southern. But I go there a lot for work and stuff, for drumming.
Okay.
And I've
so you're just a hop, skip, and a jump from Sacramento Valley Life Steamers, then.
Yes. Those guys about an hour and a half away.
Okay.
Hour 15 minutes away. Yep. Really cool club. Really good guys.
Did you catch that, Bill?
Yeah, I see what Wilmer put up there.
Wilmer says he sees your wheels turning for your next build.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you
If
what.
I had a bigger yard, maybe I would.
You will get.
Oh, Steve's still breaking up.
Yeah.
Internet.
Yeah, his internet's not helping this morning. He had sent me a link to, I think it was, what was the name of that site? Anyways, the place that sells all kinds of stuff online.
Discover Live Steam.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a live Steam deal. It was a general for sale. Got this for sale kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
But it was somebody down in Muskogee, just south of Tulsa here, that had I think it was a Pacific.
Wow.
An 1.5 inch Pacific that he had that and several train cars and 2,000 feet of track for $15,000.
Yeah.
And he's going, you need to go down there and buy that. And I'm like, where am I going to put that? I don't think my HOA here would allow me to park it outside.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't think so.
Yeah. If I didn't have this 1-car garage, I couldn't start this until I had a little 1-car garage. There was no way in hell.
Yeah.
And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Like you start with 1-inch scale, then you go to 1/8 scale and stuff, and you just go up from there. You go 2.5 scale. Now I'm at 3 3/4. I mean, the next scale after this is like grand scale. It's like you're messing with like 15-inch gauge stuff. So
yeah.
This is I'm done after this for my set. I'm really happy. I love 2-foot narrow gauge. Narrow gauge is just where 040s, 242s, and 240s is where my heart's at. So I couldn't be happier. I want a little saddle tank engine and and something that ran well, something that was American built and that ran really well. That was my two requests.
So
Yeah,
these live steam trains, they come in different scales, just like model trains.
Exactly. Yep.
I didn't know that. I thought they were all based on that one.
Yeah, we go up. Most of us, it's either 4 3/4 gauge track, or it's 7.5 gauge track. Most people do 7.5 gauge track. It's the most commonly found. That's universal from here to New
Right.
York. Out in the East Coast, there is like in Maine, like it's the European gauge, which is 7 1/4, but 7.5 gauge is what all of us mainly run on, so that we can, go to each other's
Go
track.
around. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's a good gauge to stick with right there. And from there, all the guys just scale their locomotives accordingly. Narrow gauge is going to look bigger on that kind of track. So that's, 2-foot narrow gauge is going to be overhanging like a fat kid on a bar stool. It's just going to be, so you got the track right here and it just gets bigger. Yeah. So 1/8 scale is really common for standard gauge. That's a really common one for Pacifics and Mikados and all that, and they make some beautiful stuff out there. Some guys have some really beautiful locos.
yeah.
What scale is Steve?
We lost him. He's probably trying to get that internet to work again.
I know. What scale is he? Do you know?
Oh, he's 1.5 inch scale.
1.5 inches.
Yeah, his American's 1.5 inch scale. But the thing is, it looks a lot smaller because the Americans just were not very big engines.
Yeah,
They were tiny engines.
Yep.
In fact, on my channel, I've got a short video of the Eureka and Palisade coming right in front of our car. We were in a parking lot, and I saw him coming down the hill at Durango there, and I pulled up and videoed him going by. And you can see how much smaller the engine is compared to the car. He's pulling a passenger car in a caboose, and they're a lot bigger looking than the engine is.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's a full scale. So, but yeah, Steve had sent me pictures of some of the guys that have 2.5 inch scale narrow gauge engines that run on 1.5 inches. And that's what I would, if I was out there, that's what I'd be itching to do, is something like that. I'd probably never have the money to do that, but that's what I would want to do, is something like that.
Yeah, 2.5 scale is a great scale for a lot of folks. And after 3-foot narrow gauge, like my last AccuCraft loco, that 240, that was a 2.5 scale. The guys in my club run a lot of 2.5 scale. They're beautiful equipment. They probably make the most. Some of the beautifulest narrow gauge is 2.5 scale and little live steam stuff.
So what scale is your Thomas?
That's 1 inch scale. So he actually runs on. So 4 3/4 gauge, 4 3/4 gauge. The distance between the rails out here in the U.S. is standard for the small 1 inch gauge stuff. Thomas and he runs on a 5 inch gauge. He's from Europe actually, so he's from Britain is where I got most of the equipment from Thomas. That's like the inner cylinder. It's kind of hard to find inner cylinder equipment out here in the U.S. and stuff. So I ordered a lot of stuff from overseas. I made relationships with some people overseas, and I actually got a really good deal. Just get my parts from there. Company named Pauly. So Tom is actually a 5 inch gauge, so he's kind of an odd duck out here in the U.S. But one could convert him to 4 3/4. It would just mean putting in the drivers just a little more by 1/4 inch.
Well, where do you run them at?
I have a little track that I built, just a little straightaway down my side yard for Thomas. I don't ever take him out. I don't take Thomas to any clubs or anything because he just won't fit on anything.
Right, you can't take him anywhere.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't take him anywhere. Just for show. I'll get asked to, bring him for like displays and stuff, so I'll do that. But I can't.
Is it easy to re-gauge the track?
Yeah, it's not bad. The ties that I use for Thomas is just wood. You're just 2x2s. So
okay, so you could just make it whatever you needed. So it's not wasted.
No.
Yeah.
No, if I want to do a 4
you just pick it up and reuse it for something else.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
But when you're not running like, a live steam engine, how do you store it? And by that, I'm talking like, do you drain it down, and how do you ensure that everything's dry so you don't get any rust inside?
Yeah, great question. Well, this is a steel boiler, so obviously it really needs to be dry because, rust is our enemy. Um, so this actually locomotive had no rust on it when I got her, which is amazing. She has no rust, which is pretty cool.
Coated in grease.
Yeah, it's all that grease, all that butter on her was just keeping her protected. So with this, I drain her every time. So I have on the tank, on the saddle tank here, I'll have a release valve, and I'll drain out the tank, and then I hook her to an air compressor. A lot of us get our locomotives started on air compressors just to get the flow going, the draft. So I'll hook the air compressor up to her after everything's drained. I'll drain all the tanks and hook the air compressor up to her, open up all the valves, and then just let the air kind of do its work, for a little bit. And from there, it gets pretty dry. And I'll take a towel as well and swap up stuff in and around, as much as I can.
Kind of like blowing out your sprinkler system in the north, Bill.
Yeah.
Come the winter time.
Yeah, so that's usually the procedure for cleaning them out. In the front of it, you open up the front door, the smoke box door, and you take your little brush glue and you brush it down with all the coal burners and stuff. You get quite a bit of that soot and everything, which is a lot of fun. It's part of the journey. With propane, not as much. Diesel, we get a little bit of boogers in there, but the propane's pretty clean. So do that, just clean her out. But that's the biggest thing. Usually a good air compressor connection fitting right in there will clean out all our pipes and stuff and do the job.
Steve says he's in chat watching in the house. So
I guess he's not coming back.
yeah, probably not.
Poor Steve. Talks about that American he's working on. Things looking really good.
How come his internet works in the house but not in the garage? What's up with that?
That's where his main internet comes in. He was using a Wi-Fi link extender to get it out in the shop, and it had been working pretty good. But I think it's his main one this morning that's giving him problems. So, what did Fred say? He said his grandpa started to build the live steam. He unfortunately passed before it was finished. I wish I had the machining skills to finish it.
Do you still have his train, Fred?
Yeah. What kind
Maybe
of,
you can get people to do it for you.
Well, there again, that's a funds issue.
Yeah.
You got to find somebody to do it, but then you got to have the funds to pay them to do it too.
Yeah, well,
And it's not like putting a decoder in an HL locomotive. So get Steve. Steve's pretty handy with that stuff though. It's funny because I watch him. He'll move like a reverser. He's like, "Oh, today I just moved the reverser." It's like, and it looks immaculate. I'm like, "How the hell did you do this?" Like, there would be a big freaking hole there if I did that. There's no way. I think it would look like a patchwork ass job. Well, when he first picked that engine up, he told me he was going to do it. Sell his and sell his diesel and buy this. And then he was saying he was going to try and get it ready for triennial this year. And that was like August.
Yeah.
And he didn't have the tender built.
Yeah.
He didn't have the reefer built that he built. He didn't have the caboose built. And I'm thinking, hey, Steve, you're never going to make all that stuff. And here he is. He's right on the cusp of having it done. Because I think he said they're going to try and fire it up Wednesday and see if they've got all the stuff worked out on it. So,
I know those injectors. He was having a little bit of injector, which we all get that. I was surprised in the injectors because it took a minute with these things. Just pretty much blowing roaches out of them was pretty much what needed to happen. But they work really well. But it was it definitely. I saw Steve wrenched on his trying to get water to his system.
Yeah, he said he's got about 1,200 hours in it, which I don't doubt because he spent a lot of time out there. And of course, I spent several hours online with him, just talking and working on my layout while he was doing that stuff. But it still amazed me at how much he got done in the time he had.
He really did. He's been going at it, man. He's really.
Yeah.
It's cool to see that thing, the life of it from when it started to where it is now.
Well, especially with no more knowledge than he had of it to start with. Now he had been around it. He's run a steam engine before, but he hasn't built one. So to get it to this point is, to me, it's just phenomenal that he got that far with it. And I told him, I said, when I get out there, it doesn't have to be running. I just want to see it in person.
Oh, yeah, same here.
It would be cool to see it running when we get out there, but, if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Oh, yeah. Get the diesel. That's why all of the steam guys have a diesel.
He said, Mama has no idea how much time I've got invested.
Until she watches this in a rerun.
She won't watch it. If Sheila's like he says she is, she won't watch it. But anyway, it's amazing how much time we can spend on something like that. But even Bill, you're going to have to give us a little update on your stuff. But Bill moves along at a pretty good clip for a model train layout. He goes a lot faster than I do. That's for sure.
Just a little bit here and a little bit there, and you get stuff accomplished.
Yeah, really what it is. Just if I could do one thing a day, just one. That's
exactly.
Even if it's 5 minutes, I'm like running around between work. I could just bolt on a couple bolts or something, clean something.
Yeah. The goal is not to finish it, but it's to okay, I'm going to do this, a little specific thing, and then if you can do more, hey, bonus points.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there's always usually several steps in getting anything completed. So if you can just get one of the steps done, even I find that helps, because then the next time you go up, you can do the next step. And so okay, Bill, I'm gonna give you your
all right, sounds
here.
good.
Let's see what you got done this week.
Let's see, is Heath in the audience by any chance?
I haven't looked.
I got an answer for him for this week, 220. So that's the number of scratch-built trees.
Okay. I did pick up
a little bit more to the forest since last week. So
beautiful.
Then I've got this little corner fairly well finished. I've got the dirt ballast down and glued in on this module all the way up, to the end point on it. I've got this all ballasted up to just around the corner here. And then ballast down on the bottom up to the tunnel portal, and then just starting to do the scenery on the tunnel portal. And then, since last week, put in, about 19 more trees just right in this little area here. And I'm starting the process of building more. So I've got another 24 trunks that I'm starting to build. And that'll be another batch of trees going in probably later this week. That's kind of where I've been this week, mostly just right in this corner of the layout. And then again, like I said, the dirt ballast for the narrow gauge tracks.
Yeah.
Wow, beautiful.
And
I did go get some of that
too.
I did go get some of that grapevine wire, and it was right where you said it would be. Even in the store here in Tulsa, it was in the same spot you said it would be. And so I found some of that, and then I went and got some of the furnace filter.
Oh, good.
Yeah, our furnace filter. Well, the one that they had, I think it was at Lowe's, was blue instead of green.
Yeah.
But since you got to paint it, it's no big deal.
Yeah, it'll take the color. And in here. So last night, here's 14 trunk armatures in process. I've got to do the glue, and then roll them in Woodland Scenics earth turf to kind of build up the trunks. Another 12. Just starting in process. I did go away from using super glue because I used to use super glue to glue these together for the start. I'm using wood glue right now, and then just using these little, ties to hold them together until the wood glue sets. You get less super glue on your fingers. It's easier to keep clean. And this holds everything together really well. So I'm using like Gorilla Glue just on this stage. Gorilla Glue is more runny than the typical carpenter's glue. But for doing this part, it works fine. When I do the next part where I'm filling in the grooves, I'll use regular carpenter's glue, the yellow glue. And another thing that I'm doing a little bit different to kind of speed up the process is I'll do one or two sides, and then I put the, like if there's ground foam here, I put it down and I roll it, and it actually packs it in. So I get a little bit better look, and it goes a little bit quicker. So I'm not spending quite so much time the construction of these.
Yeah.
But,
So, Bill, have you ever tried using the liquid latex for that process?
no, I haven't.
Okay.
It
I've
might
seen
be,
people use that.
yeah, it might be something to try sometime.
Yeah.
But I've not done it. The woodland scenic stuff gives you a texture, so it looks like bark. So I don't know if the latex would do the same. It would probably pick up some of the texture from the wire. But
No, I'm talking about the where you use the glue.
yeah, that's what I'm saying is that with the woodland scenic stuff, and I put the glue in, I roll it and I get a good texture. I don't know if the latex would get that same
okay.
texture.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, I understand what you're talking about, sticking yourself to your project. I didn't build an airplane, model airplane, balsa airplane without leaving my DNA in it. So they all got a little bit someplace.
Yeah, and I got tired of, after building these things, I'm sitting around for hours trying to peel off little flakes of super glue off my fingers, and my fingers are crunchy feeling for like a day or two after, until I finally wears off.
What a lot of people don't know is eventually the oils in your skin will make it release, and it'll come off a lot easier. But yeah, it does. It does take a while.
Yeah.
I'd get it so thick on my fingers, depending on what I was doing, because there was some stuff I'd put it on and I'd have to just run my finger down over it. So it would cake up. I had some 1/8 of an inch thick on my fingers sometimes. And so I just take emery board and just sit there and rub it on, sand it off, because get it down to where you can then use a remover to get it off your hands. But yeah, that's the bad part of super glue.
That's why I went to the wood glue with this part of the construction process. You get the wood glue on your fingers, you can roll your fingers and it'll kind of flake off and like booger up and come off, or you can just quickly grab an end and peel and it comes right off, and no worse for the wear. Super glue just doesn't feel so good.
Well, Royce says use an 11-inch or number 11 blade to scrape the glue after it dries. I'm thinking no. If I was going to do that, it'd just flame my fingertips.
You'll be putting super glue back on it to seal it up.
I can really put more of your fingertip back on. Well, let's see. We got about 15 minutes left. Anybody else got a question for Evan or Bill, for that matter, or me or Jerry? We'll
Bill,
see if they're getting.
I got a question for if you built yours. It's a on 30 right layout.
Yeah. So the top part of it is the ON30, and then I've got a regular 2-rail O gauge that runs on the bottom and on the other side of the layout. I'm building this intending to take it to shows, just kind of trying to help get interest in model railroading more with other people. So it's a double layer, or it's a 2-gauge layout. And then the bottom one for the O scale, it only actually shows on about 1/3 of the layout. The rest of it's just hidden. So it comes out from the mountains, it goes across some deep canyons and up against some really tall cliffs on the other side. And then, and then it goes back in and it goes underneath. And I got like a little 2-track staging yard that's hidden underneath, where I've got 2 trains. So I can have one train going one direction. After a while, I can park it and have another one going the other direction for a while, a steamer and then a diesel.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
did your layout in sections now, so you can take it apart, kind of?
Yeah, so I've got a 3-section module. So like behind me is a 4.5 by 4.5, and then it's like 3 by 5 in the middle, and then another 4.5 by 4.5 on the end over on the other end.
Okay.
And they're all on casters. It takes like 5 minutes to take it apart, and that's for the whole thing. And it takes about 5-10 minutes to put it back together. It's just like 4 wires on each module.
Nice.
The ON30 is DCC. The O scale is just regular DC because it's old Atlas equipment.
Okay.
And River RC. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question for Evan, a couple of them. Where do you store all your other trains?
Trains. So I have like little 1-car garage here. Thomas,
Right.
The Thomas equipment I can usually lift. So I can lift. That's about 100-pound locomotive. So I can, bear hug that thing.
So everything's in your 1-car garage?
Yeah. Everything's here. Everything's
Wow.
here. The club will allow me to store stuff. My club as well, but I don't have anything to store there. I might store 1 flat car up there.
Right.
But I can park the flat cars in my side yard and put tarps over them for the most part, and they'll stay dry and safe. Our weather's not harsh here, so we don't get snow or anything in the Bay Area.
Those Jackson and Sharp coaches, were they a kit?
Oh, that Jackson and Sharp coach I did, that came complete. So that's by AccuCraft. No, that's by AccuCraft.
I gotcha.
I converted mine into a combine. I just pretty much put a panel on the side of it and painted it, matched the paint and stuff, which was a lot of fun. I recently sold that with my other locomotive, my 240, the flat car, and the Jackson Sharp.
Oh, you sold it. Okay.
Yeah, I sold that. That was a great car. Those Jackson Sharps are really stout cars. AccuCraft's done a really good job with their rolling
They look
stock.
nice.
Yeah, they're good cars. They're safe. They're heavy as hell. I mean, that Jackson Sharp weighed 430 pounds. That damn.
Wow.
That thing was
mercy.
heavy. But that thing derailed, which it only derailed once trying to get her in the garage on this little rickety line that I had. I had to call a neighbor up. There's no way in hell I was going to lift it myself. But good cars. It's really sturdy cars, really safe for kids and everything. Going to like my daughter and all the little neighborhood friends. I always felt safe when they're in the Jackson Sharp because she hugged the rails nice and she had the seat and got their hands away from crap, because it's kind of riding in the car. So great job with those Jackson Sharp cars. And then mine was a shorty too. They make the full length ones, which are 10 feet long, but there's no way I could take that around my curve. I got a curve over here that's like a 13-foot radius. I can't have any more than 4 drivers on my layout, which is okay because locomotives that I tend to steer towards only have 4 drivers. But the other Jackson Sharp that the shorty was 7 feet long, and that was about the limit for that.
So Bill, I think you saw the question that Steve Anderson was asking.
So actually, the wife is supportive of all of that. So when this thing actually goes to show, and I got to find a good site that lists shows. Richmond has a couple, and I'm going to try to get into it later this year. But she's supportive of me, like renting a U-Haul truck to be able to take this locally. And she's not against, getting like a nice trailer or something like that later, so that when I do retire and I, do shows a lot more frequently, so she's okay with it, which is surprising.
It's always nice when they support what you're doing.
Yeah. She just comes out and says it looks really nice, and we've talked about it before because she knows all she's got to do is open the garage door and yell, and 9 times out of 10 I'm either here or I'm in the yard. So
Yeah. Well, and when I was doing airplanes, I was here a lot of the time because I was building more than I was flying. So I wasn't usually at the field. I was usually here. But yeah, she liked that part of it better than when I was fishing all the time and off constantly.
Yeah.
Steve says he wants you to tell us about your club.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, Portola Valley. Yeah, Portola Valley, man. They are beautiful, beautiful club. I'm like the newcomer there. Yeah, I've been there for about a year now, maybe a little less or so. Portola Valley, it's about 45 minutes away from me here, 45 minutes away. Beautiful, about like 5 miles of track or so we have now. just a ton of trestles. It can be a hard line for a lot of locomotives. We do have like a 2.5% grade there in one spot, but those guys have worked for years. They have a huge redwood trestle that just overlooks the whole valley. The views there are really amazing.
Very cool.
There's probably like 7 bridges there, big bridges, and they've done really well over there. Portola is a really cool club. I'm honored to be part of their group. The guys over there are really knowledgeable. This guy Bill Bowler, who I really look up to, he comes over and helps me every once in a while. And this guy Brandon McCracken, he's a really good master machinist and just all around great mechanic. So I learn a lot from them. I kind of just go there and observe, and I'll have them all over to wrench on my stuff. We got the pig running. That's who I called, was Bill, Brandon, and this guy Ed, and a few other guys in the club. Like, I've never ran diesel before, so I was a little intimidated by that. And they came out and helped me out. We got it running. So the club's really cool. Bunch of good guys. If you're ever out, Steve, bring your train, man. We would love to have you. They open it up to the public and other clubs and stuff, and do meets probably about twice a year or so. Portola Valley Life Steamers.
Bernard says it's great. You can run full-size trains too.
Yeah, you can run. Yeah, it's all 7.5 gauge track. We do have a caboose out there. We got a full size 4 foot 8.5 inch caboose. That's we do little meetings in every once in a while and stuff. There's a couple tanks out there because the fella whose property it was really into tanks before he passed. He had like 50 tanks out there, bunch of Abrams and just a bunch of
Tanks? Really?
Wow.
Yeah, 50 tanks. 50 tanks, man. They know what the hell. This is a really rich guy. And
Wow.
this guy Jacques, I forget his last name. I never met him. My grandfather met him, though, actually. Apparently, my grandfather went up there a long time ago. And then when he passed away, the family didn't want to kick out the train club because it's on his property. That's how Portola kind of started. It was Jacques and a buddy of his. I think Peter, might have been Peter Mosley. But anyways, Peter and Bill were kind of involved, and they were friends. And he said, "Hey, Jacques, you have a lot of land here. Do you mind if I build a train in the corner of this place over here?" And Jacques was into trains too, but not as much. But he's like, "Yeah, sure, take it over." So they built trains. He built their train. That's when Portola started. It just kind of started from there. And then he passed away, the guy Jacques, the original owner. And the family didn't want to kick out the train club because they really respected that. The guys.
That's nice.
Yeah, so they didn't kick us out, and it's carried on from there. And they've actually granted us more area to build track. So there's a good probably like 20 guys out there that are there every week, on work day and stuff, that are laying track and taking care of that land.
That's pretty cool.
It's really nice. Yeah, I go out there,
Yeah.
I just run my steamer. I'm like, thanks, guys. Yeah, thanks for all the hard work. So,
Is it a big club? Many people?
60-something members. I think around pushing 70 members or so. So
That's
I'm not
cool.
sure if that's a big club or probably kind of on the smaller end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bernard was talking about the Railroad Museum in Portola. I'm not sure where that is, but
Oh, there
I
is.
was
Yeah,
assuming he
there
was
is.
talking about the place you were talking about.
Yeah, there is. Yep, there's a museum out there in Portola. I went a while ago. I think it's been 100 years though. There was another little museum that I went to when I was a kid. And that's what I'm thinking of. I'm not sure if it's the same place though. But there is a museum. Yes, there is a museum. And it's pretty cool out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we got about 5 minutes left, guys. Any more questions that you want to ask Evan? I can't wait to see that thing fired up. That's going to look really cool.
It's
That's gonna
coming.
look really cool.
It's coming. Probably June, July, August. Probably August. I'm hoping August. I'm waiting for a burner, a hand pump, my parts to come back, which will be here next week. Actually, I bet you they'll come back from powder coating. So those 3, and then trucks for these cars. So
Yeah.
I
You
got
and
it.
Steve.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
waiting on the same stuff.
Oh, it is, man. I waited for a pair of wheels one time, set of trucks for like a year one time. for this one scale stuff. It's a slow moving snail, this hobby, but
So
I
Evan,
rush him though. I get it. I get stuff done. I'm like, come on, guy. I'm like, if I give you a couple extra bucks, can you do? I try to get him do a couple of things. Which most of the guys are pretty cool. Like the guy Steve Eastlaw making my trucks. He's moving really fast. He just came back from the foundry. So I bet you July. It's like July. You'll have your trucks, and then Jeff June. He's always great over there at Local Parts. He's always making people stuff. He has the triennial. The triennial's coming, so a lot of people need stuff for that. They're like, I need a burner. I need an axle pump. So he's working hard for them. So I'm letting him get that out of the way, and then
must be working 7 days a week.
Yeah. Well, it's, feast or famine in a thing like that, I would think, because I wouldn't think there's enough clientele year round to keep him just constantly busy.
You never know,
No,
though.
there may be. I don't know. I'm not in that.
Yeah.
I'm not in that
Yeah.
world, but
I think there's
I
more
know how
people that
hobbies are, and they tend to be, a little bit here, a little bit there. They're not usually consistent.
I think there's more people into this than we think there are.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are. Yeah, I think we'd be surprised to find out how many. In fact, I've seen videos on YouTube. I'm going, man, there's a lot of these guys that do, a lot of this stuff. But it's in the realm of things when you talk about running a business that only has this many people for clients. It's not something that a lot of people get into because of the money part of it, for one thing, and the space to have it.
Yeah.
So,
somebody that makes things like that would almost have to diversify and do some other custom type work as well.
Sure,
If they're doing it full time.
Yeah.
now if they're a good machinist, and they've got the lathe and the equipment to do that, you can do all kinds of stuff with that that's not related to railroads, and still do the live steam stuff, when it comes in. So. But you almost have to diversify like that in that kind of deal. It's like the hobby shops have all gone online. You can't hardly find a brick and mortar hobby shop anymore.
So a company like that made the Jackson Sharp coach, they're a pretty big company, somewhat.
Yeah, AccuCraft. They're big because they do a lot of the G scale live steam stuff. And they're known and model train. So their kind of bread and butter is the model train world, right? And they got into live steam ride-on equipment pretty recently, like within like the last 10 years or so, and now they're trying to open the door more and more for that. They're making equipment. They're here in Union City. My buddy Channing, he's the head of operations over there at AccuCraft, and we know each other real well. I'm always buying stuff off my couplers and coupler boxes and stuff.
That would be a cool place to tour, maybe.
Oh, it's really cool.
Yeah.
You guys would just panic attack. You go in there. It's just like when I first went in there, I was just like, holy cow.
You think you could do a video there? That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, we might do that. Channing would probably be into that. I could walk around with the video and show you guys all this stuff. It's a warehouse just full of trains.
Yeah.
You got to do that. See if you could do that sometime. That would be interesting to show on your channel.
Yeah, I'm sure Channing. I'll talk to him about that.
Yeah, that would be pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're about the end of the hour. Thank
So
you,
real quick,
for
Evan, how
coming
do you
by and
get
showing us your butter pig.
How do you get your stuff off that table? Pick it up? You and a couple friends?
Oh, actually, I got a scissor lift. I do have
Okay.
an air pump that came with the locomotive. The fella sent me a scissor lift too, so it's pretty cool. So I didn't have to before. I was calling up all the neighbors. I got my 4 guys. Yeah, all of us put on our gloves and 1, 2, 3. She is heavy though. I tried to lift her with a buddy one night. She would not even move. Not 2 people. She needs at least 4. She's
and to get that much weight off of something that high already is hard too.
Yeah.
If it's on the floor, it's one thing. It's when it's up high to start with. It's much heavier up there.
Yeah.
Are there handholds where you guys grab, or do you put like a steel rod underneath and spots, for lift? How do you lift?
Yeah. Usually the front here. That's a good place right here at the front beam on the front. That's solid steel. That could take it. On the back here, I wouldn't grab the cab, but underneath here at the frame, you could grab that right here if you wanted to. Anywhere on the frame, pretty much, is a safe bet. You could do the whole bar there. I could throw a bar there through there,
and do that deal as long as you had it secure. But the scissor lift is awesome. I mean, this thing is worth its weight in gold. The fellow who sold me the locomotive was like, "Hey, you want a scissor lift?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I want a scissor lift." Great. So he gave me a scissor lift and the stand here, which is awesome. This stand is really cool. Yeah, to be able to work on her, because I trying to get underneath the eccentrics and stuff can be a little tedious.
So prior to that, you didn't have the stand.
No, I was on the ground with all the rest of the locomotives. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, he's young. He can do that. If I got down that low, I couldn't get up again.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
guys. So that's our hour. And
All right.
Evan, thanks again for
Yeah,
dropping
thanks
by.
for coming on.
And,
Yeah, thanks, guys.
We'll have you on again when you get it
See
ready.
everybody.
All right.
Everybody have a good
Alrighty.
weekend.
You too.
Bill,
Yeah.
Jerry,
See you
and
guys.
everybody in chat, thanks for dropping by today. And
See you, Steve.
see you next week.
Yeah. Hopefully you're on again.
Dennis should be back next week too.
Okay.
So we'll see everybody later. Take
See you
care.
guys.